inside of your prayer in your booklet.
Dodi li arohev hashoshanim. Ani ledodi li arohev hashoshanim. Ani ledodi
Wow, so good to have everyone here, and particularly nice because to see a handful of faces I don't think are not so typical around here, and so they've come as far away. I'm eyeballing people who have literally come from let's call it 4,500 miles away just to be with us here for Shabbat, which I'm so grateful for. I knew that our reputation was far and wide. Not enough to buy a plane ticket just to come over here for it, but we accept. So, what's that?
Is that important for us to come back?
Thank you. No, it's cherished people who have been a part and who are always part of this congregation are back here with us, but not just those unusual faces, rather so many different people here who are just a little new, and we're glad to have you because, it's if there's one thing which I've probably said so many times, but I will continue to say because I can't say it enough, and that is, if there's something that I have learned over the last year, slightly less than a year, it's that I truly thirst for being around people who I know care about me. And I truly am so grateful and appreciative to be with people who share in the same feelings that I have, who share in the same struggles that I have, and who are there with me. And that's not something I take for granted anymore. I used to, but not anymore. And so thanks for being here. And I will continue to thank you every single time until I feel like somehow, some way, that the world is not as upside down as it feels. So thanks for being here. Shabbat Shalom. And we begin officially our service. Unofficially, we already began. But officially, we're going to begin with the lighting of the Shabbat candles, and as well as the Kiddush. And I am so grateful to be able to welcome forward for the honor of lighting the Shabbat candles and leading us in Kiddush, Andrew Hilburn is going to be a bar mitzvah tomorrow here at our service. And so I'd like to have Andrew come up along with his sister and parents. Yep, parents too. I don't see your brother here, so we're on page 121. And for some reason I can't figure out. You you'd think it by now, I would remember. Okay, so the English is on page 121. To there. As these Shabbat candles.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
You just want to be proud of yourself. Don't lift your foot. Just move it away from the other one. All right, you can pull it out.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
We are now on page 123 as we continue with the blessing for Kiddush. Let's 1 minute here. Okay. You get to do the first part with me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom tehillah lemikrae kodesh zecher litziat mitzrayim ki banu v'charta ve'otanu kitashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'vratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mikadesh HaShabbat.
That's good. See back here now. All right, so our service is now Lechun Neranana. Believe it or not, written by an old friend of mine, well, by two of my friends, Kenny Chasen and Yoshi Zweiback. Lechun Neranana, really fun version, which I think you can, even if you don't know it, it shouldn't be too hard for you to pick up on it. Lechun Neranana.
God, the maker of all, sure and strong. Let all of creation from mountain to sea hear our song. Lechun Neranana,
right, slight page mistake. We're not on page 130. We are on page 137. So, no, so we had it right. You're looking at the indented, I guess what would be considered a paragraph after the hard return on page 137. You see, Adonai oz le'amo yitain, may God grant strength unto us, God's people, and bless us with peace. Adonai oz.
Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo. Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo.
Page 146, this is the Baruch Hu. Please rise. We're on page 148, and on 148, this is the Ma'ariv Aravim prayer, but if you go about halfway down, I could tell you 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 lines down, the Hebrew is Borei Yom Valayla Golel Or Mipnei Choshech V'Choshech Mipnei Or. Creator of day and night, rolling darkness from light, and rolling light from darkness and darkness from light. That's the core and the source for this song called Roll Into Dark. You can find the words on the inside page of your booklet.
Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Borei yom halayla, golel or mipnei choshech, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day. into light, night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night.
So we are on page 150, and I invite you to join me in the English at the bottom of the page. Everlasting love you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Would you please rise? Next page, 152.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Yevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
Please be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
All right, well, our service continues with Mi Chamocha, our song that we sang when we crossed the Sea of Reeds, finally making it to freedom, page 158.
לפני משה ומרים, זה אלי אנו ואמרו, זה אלי אנו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
I'm on 161. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up, waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu v'yakol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim. Our service continues on 162 with Vishamru.
That's my bad, sorry.
No problem. 162. What's that?
What?
Does it not? No, yeah, Rothblum.
Yeah, it says it in the thing. It was my mistake.
That's right, Rothblum.
Yeah, no, we're all good.
You know Rothblum.
Yeah.
Moshe. We go by Moshe.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
All right, the tefillah. It starts on 164, it goes on to 166, 168, and 170. Rapid page turns, so just be ready for them. Starting on 164, Adonai Sifatai Tiftach, please rise.
Adonai sivatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Yadadai-dai-dai, 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 yadadai-dai-dai.
166, Bob.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei HaKol, V'zocher Chastei Ahavot V'imahot, U'mevii Geula Livnei Bneihem, L'man Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai
Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah. Ata Gibor Leolam Adonai, Mechayeh Tarav Lehoshia, Morid Hatal, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayeh Hakol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofech Olim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Bal Yevurot, Umido Melech, Melech Memit, Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, B'nehem Anatal HaChayot HaKol, Baruch Ata Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol. Ata Kadosh L'Shimcha Kadosh, U'Kadoshim B'chol Yom Yahalelucha Selah. Baruch Ata Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
Please be seated. We are on page 377, and we have been doing in some way, shape, or form, some sort of expression, whether it's been for the state of Israel or for the hostages, but we've been trying at least, you can't, in every single Shabbat service and virtually every single thing we have done at Temple Beth Shalom over the last year, in some way, shape, or form, has at least mentioned what's going on in Israel, what's going on with our loved ones who are still captive. And so, though this evening, a different version of a prayer called Avinu Shebashamayim, which is the prayer for the state of Israel. But first, let's read it in English together on the bottom of 377, and then Cantor Snyder will continue with a musical rendition of it. Join me. O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Amen.
Avinu, Avinu, Shebashamayim, Sur Yisrael v'goalo. Avinu, Avinu, Shebashamayim, Sur Yisrael v'goalo. Barech, Barech, et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit Smichat Yehulatenu, Hagen Aleha Be'efrat Chastecha, Ufros Aleha Sukat Shelomecha. Avinu, Avinu, Shebashamayim, Sur Yisrael v'goalo. Avinu, Avinu, Shebashamayim, Sur Yisrael v'goalo. Ushelach orecha v'amitecha lerasheha sareha v'yotzeha ותקנם בעצה טובה מלפניך, ותקנם בעצה טובה מלפניך, Avinu, Avinu, Shebashamayim.
So Yisrael go'alo. It's okay. We are going to continue. That's okay. We're going to continue with Shalom Rav, and we're going to do the Klepper version. And since I didn't bring my chords, we're just going to sing it a cappella with me. I don't know, I have the chords in front of me. So join me, we're on page 100, what is that? So 78, yep. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasihim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasihim leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasihim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasihim leolam. V'tov be'enecha levarech et amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. ברוך אתה אדוני המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום. All right, so we get to share at this moment joys that are in our lives and struggles. Now, since there are a number of people that have, it's been a long time, let me tell you what happens. So now is the time when you just put your prayer books down and you get to have a little bit of fun. And it is fun. So anyone who has joy that they wish to share, just raise your hand and tell me about it, and we can experience your joy with you. And from time to time, we're going to sing, can you hear, can you hear, can you hear, can you hear? And those words just mean, may it be. So I won't do it every time. I'll also try my best to repeat what you say, because for those who are watching on stream, actually currently the camera is over there. I just want you to know, so make sure that looking good for that camera. Joy, anybody's got some joy they want to share? Yeah, Laura.
My joy.
Those two?
Yes.
Chami and Jerry are here. How nice to have you guys. And Don. So, but you said Chami and Jerry first, so I'm going to assume that's more joy?
They came from a farther distance.
I'm happy to have them here too, no doubt. More joy? Yes. Really? Awesome. Bar mitzvah tomorrow. Wait a minute, yeah, it's like, I'll come. I'll be there for it. No, of course, I'm thrilled, really excited, and it's so beautiful to see you guys together here. For sure. More joy. I know there is. Yes, go ahead.
Recently, I got to go up to New Jersey to visit some friends who moved there from this area, and it was just so great to see them. I got to meet their newest baby, who's like 6 or 7 months old, and yeah, it was just wonderful to see their toddler read, just spend time with them.
No, it sounds great, except, at first when you said, we were talking about joys, you're like, recently I had the chance to go to New Jersey, and I'm like, oh yeah. Me too, every time I'm there. I'm just like, the joy is just emanating. Nothing quite like New Jersey to bring the joy flowing. Join me, but that's for the joy of seeing friends and a new baby, for the joy of a bar mitzvah tomorrow, for the joy of having some special people in the sanctuary with us. I think that's deserving. Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear? Joy.
I have a new grandnephew, Pesach, who was named after my brother who died on October the 7th. So it's very meaningful to have him.
Wait a minute. I just want to make sure I'm getting all this correctly. So you have a new grand nephew, but a new close member of the family, and they live in Israel, and his who?
Well, they did live in Israel. My brother got sick at Passover, and so they stayed here, and he died actually right at Simchas Torah.
So it's just.
So it's within the time frame. Apparently, it's a very special time for prayers.
No, I was going to say the fact is that died on October 7th, but not, and lived in Israel, but was here at the time.
Not only that, but they brought his body back to be buried in Israel.
Wow.
The next day. That's the thought.
Yeah, I'll say. You couldn't get a flight to Israel.
Well, I mean, nobody else could get on his flight.
Right. Well, what a joy to have someone to have the cycle of life continue, and that no doubt is a joy. Other joy? Yes, Bob.
We had a wonderful trip to Belgium and Holland. We were able to spend a few days in Holland with my brother, who I haven't seen very often.
Your brother who, say the last part again? You said you saw your brother who, and then I missed the last few words. Oh, who I don't see very often. Okay, go ahead. Very nice.
We're very glad to be back.
Well, glad to have you back, but still, it's beautiful that guys were able to get away. More joy? Yeah, Carrie.
I placed first in a 5K on my age division, fifth overall. And the biggest joy was my husband and my kids were cheering on at the end. So.
Yeah, that's great. So the joy of, seeing family across the pond, shall we say, the joy of welcoming a new child into the family, especially one that is able to bear the name of a loved one who's not with us anymore, and then joy of finishing first in your demographic for a race. That's really fantastic. Join me. Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear? Anybody else? Anybody else? All right. All right. Yeah. Ever. Nice. So can we get like a little bit of like, what's he thinking? How's it going? You know what? Hopefully not the last. The first, but not the last. And definitely if it was the last, then we would have the guilt of thinking that, we were the reason why never stepped foot in a synagogue ever again. I'm so glad you are here, and I'm so glad he is here. Anybody else want to share joy? Yes?
We can't be upstate, we have a first service over here as well.
Whoa, first one, but he can tell us how it's going a little bit more than Edmund over here. How's it going so far? Here's the good part. There's food after the service. There is food after the service, and it's usually pretty good. So, anybody else want to share joy? Baruch atah Adonai, Komel Chasadim Tovim. We praise you, Adonai, our God, for partnering with us in the many joys that are in our lives. Amen. So along with the joy is a recognition that loved ones of ours are not whole, do not have a sense of shalom. And we have words that we say to consider them and think about them, or consider us and think about ourselves. And it's a prayer we call Mishaberach. And I think by this point, most of you know how I feel about this, which is that though, maybe back in the day, people used to think about healing as, you have a broken arm and we want to pray for healing. You're sick and we want to pray for healing. But I think more and more we're coming to understand that the emotional struggles are, I would actually argue, perhaps even more sinister and difficult, because in those particular cases, you don't really have someone who can say, just do X, Y, and Z and you're going to be okay. Rather, it's so much of a longer battle, if it's even one that can be, hopefully it can be controlled, but not defeated. And so I think that whether it's physical or emotional healing that we're looking for, whether it's for ourselves or for a loved one, these are so important. And so the blessing that we say is called Mishaberach, and the way that we're going to do it here is that I'm going to share with you the beginning of the blessing. Halfway through the blessing, I'm going to pause and give you a chance to share the name of anyone you wish. You could say your own name, you could say someone else's name, you could say in Hebrew or English. So that starts Mishaberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov v'Imotenu Sarah Rivka Leah v'Rachel. And those words mean, may the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Leah, and Rachel. Hu yivarech v'yirapet kol hacholim shelanu, may God bless and heal all of our loved ones who are in need of healing, especially the ones whom we name at this time. And so if you'd like to share a name, I'll just kind of look around the room, and when I kind of meet your eye, if you want to say a person's name, please feel free to do so. Just like to add a few names. Allison Herman, Anna Greenberg, Brent Hare, Alana Schwartz, Meirav Atara Bat Avram Sarah. Vishlach Lahem Bimheira, Refuah Shalema, may God send them speedily a complete recovery. Refuah Nefesh for Refuah Guf, healing of body and healing of spirit. B'toch Sha'ar Cholei Yisrael, amongst all who are in need of healing. V'nomar Amen, and let us say Amen. 371, that's where you find the words to Mishaberach.
Mishaberach Avotenu Mikor habracha Leimotenu, may the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach Imotenu Mikor habracha Lavotenu, bless those in need of healing with refuah Shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We pause now for a moment of silence.
Razon imrefi vehyon libi Yehyul razon imrefi vehyon libi lefanecha Yehyul razon imrefi Imre vivegyon, Ibi lefanecha, Adonai Tzuri v'gohali, Adonai Tzuri v'gohali. Inside your heart, just be. Go inside your heart and see what it wants, what it needs, what it yearns when you breathe. Go inside your heart and see. May the words of my mouth, meditations of my heart be kind, be true. May they be acceptable to you. Oh, my rock, and my redeemer.
So, for those of you who, if you are a regular here for services, and when I say regular, I'm not talking about, over the last 6 months. I'm talking about over the last 6 years, or maybe 15 years. So, if you've been coming somewhat regularly for the last 15 years, then you know for sure what I'm about to say. If you are not a person who comes that regularly, then this is your first time probably hearing this, and good. It's kind of like the way I think about jokes. It's if there's someone who hasn't heard the joke, then it's worth telling again, right? It's just because my wife may not like hearing me tell that joke for the 500,000th time doesn't mean that there isn't a human being who hasn't heard it and therefore deserves to be told. So we are right on the cusp of Rosh Hashanah. That part I think everyone knows. And there are some things that I do that you can just pretty much count on. One of them is, as we are close to, if not on, the holiday of Yom Yerushalayim, Jerusalem Day, I'm pretty much to guarantee I'm going to tell you the story about the origin of the song Yerushalayim Shel Zahav. So for those of you who are regulars, you've heard that story told probably 15 to 20 times. Now, around the week or two before Rosh Hashanah, sometime during the Hebrew month of Elul, which is where we are now, I usually tell you a story by the truly the classic Jewish short story writer named Yud Lamed Peretz, I.L. Peretz, a story that he entitled If Not Higher. So I'm going to share it, and it just has a very simple but important message. So the story goes that in this town in the Carpathian Mountains, which are in, I guess that would be Western Russia. Romania? All right, Romania. Somewhere over there, all those countries, they all blend in with each other. So there was a synagogue in a town that observed during the month of Elul, like all traditional synagogues, the ritual of selichot, not just on the Saturday prior to the holidays, like we will be doing tomorrow, but all throughout the month of Elul, including this making the sound of the shofar, and doing the various penitential prayers, the prayers of selichot, of apology. And every morning, the Jews of the town would gather in the synagogue to do these selichot during this month of Elul. Everyone except one. Who was that one person who could not be found in the synagogue? The rabbi. Where was the rabbi? Well, the legend has it that the rabbi was going to heaven every single day and interceding on our behalf, on the people's behalf, with God. And every single day, the rabbi would go to heaven, the townspeople thought, and speak with God to make a claim that these people were good people and deserved to be forgiven. So, one day, in came someone that is referred to as a Litvak. Now, a Litvak is someone who comes from Lithuania. Now, but a Litvak isn't just a description of where you come from, but rather, a Litvak is also kind of a description of the type of person you are, right? So a Litvak, so put it this way, no one could confuse me with a Litvak. And that is because a Litvak basically ignores all like the Torah and replaces it with just hardcore study of the Talmud and the laws of the Talmud. They are, like there's an expression about those with, let's call it Germanic lineage, and they call them yekis. Have you ever heard of a yeki or a yeka? Yeka is like the person is just so precise, every detail is exact. It's like, oh my God, you're missing the period, the comma here, you're missing the you have the wrong vowel under the Hebrew letter. It's like everything is exact, and that's a Litvak. So the Litvak comes into town, comes to the synagogue, wants to come in and do and participate in the penitential selichot prayers of the morning, and asks the people, where is the rabbi? And the people will say what they know, which is, the rabbi is in heaven interceding on our behalf. And the Litvak is like, sure he is. He's not in heaven. I can tell you for a fact that the Talmud says that not even Moses was able to make it to heaven with God, but rather Moses was held 2.5 body lengths shy of heaven. And so here we are now. You're telling me that your rabbi is even better than Moses. I don't believe it. Maybe he's in the study hall. Maybe he's at home, and the people insisted he is not at home, and he is not in the study hall. And so therefore, he must be in heaven, because he's not here. Well, the Litvak decides that there is no, even though the Litvak, and the people even said, oh, if he's not in the study hall, or in the house, or in the synagogue, where else could he be than heaven? They asked the Litvak. And the Litvak says, I don't know. And truthfully, this is not my problem. It's your problem. And so, turns out that the Litvak who claimed that it wasn't his problem actually couldn't handle it. And in fact, it did become his problem just because he was so curious. And so the Litvak snuck into the rabbi's house that evening, hid beneath the rabbi's bed, and was going to literally tail this rabbi like a private detective, and was going to find out exactly where this rabbi was the next day. And so he went and he kept himself up all night, but this, as the story claims, is not such a something hard to believe, because these Litvaks, again, now realizing kind of like the racism that's implied within this story. Everybody's like, the story's like, those Litvaks, right? So if anyone here is a Litvak, I apologize. So the Litvak's underneath the bed, stays awake to make sure that he doesn't fall asleep and sleep through what's going on by reciting full passages of the Talmud from heart. That was not a hardship for him. He did it, of course. And all night he's reciting passages from the Talmud until the next morning he hears the bed creak a little bit. And so then the Litvak becomes very alert and attentive. And as he's sitting under the bed, he sees the feet of the rabbi kind of come over the bed. And the Litvak is then very excited because he knows this is the moment, and he watches the Litvak go use the bathroom and wash his face, and then he sees the Litvak put on these heavy pants and a big warm jacket, because contrary to what it's like here, when you get to Romania in the month of September, October, it starts to get cold, especially in the mountains, especially in the morning. And so the rabbi got all bundled up, and in addition to the boots and the thick pants and the jacket, he tied a big rope, and he put it and attached it to his belt, and he had brought an axe with him. And he went out into the forest, and the Litvak follows him. And he stays at a distance, but close enough to watch. And he sees the rabbi in the middle of the forest, and he takes out his axe, and he begins to chop down a tree. Chops down a tree, splits the wood, bundles it up, throws it over his shoulder, and then, dressed kind of like a poor person and a worker, not like a rabbi would dress. Like this. He goes into town, but no one really recognizes him. And he comes to the same house that he always does, the house of an old woman who is sick and struggling. And he knocks on the door. And she answers, "Who is it?" And he says, doesn't say who it really is. He lies and says, "It's me, Vassal." And she said, "What do you want, Vassal?" And he says, "I have some wood here that I'd like to give to you because it's cold." And she says, "Thank you, but I don't have the money to pay." And he says, "It's just a few kopecks. Don't worry about it. I'm sure you'll find the money." And she said, "I don't even have a few kopecks." And he says, "I'll trust you. You can pay me later, another time." And he comes in, and she says, "I can't even get out of bed. I'm too sick. I'm too old and frail. I can't even set the wood." And he says, "No, I'll take care of that for you." And he proceeds to bend over and put the wood in the fireplace. And as he bends over, and he groans, it's morning, and it's, if the rabbi is like this rabbi, then bending over would become accompanied with a And that's the sound that you really do want to make when you're reciting these penitential prayers of slichot, this groan of recognition, of apology and what I've done. And he recites the first, penitential prayer at that moment. And then he gets back up again. And then he lights it and situates the log so there's a nice airflow. And again, because as he leans down to light it and reorganize the logs, again, another and another groan, and the second of the 3 penitential prayers. And then again, this time he goes down with a groan, and he fans the flames to make sure that there's a good fire. Another groan and another prayer. 3 prayers, just like was happening in the synagogue. And meanwhile, the Litvak is watching this whole thing from a distance, but not so far away. And in the background, the Litvak sees that the sun is rising, and the Litvak hears the shofar being sounded at the synagogue not too far away. And he now knows why the rabbi didn't make it to the synagogue. But he knows that he has the capacity to hustle over to the synagogue and still make it there in time. They've blown the shofar, but they have not yet probably recited the 3 prayers, and so he's going to hustle over. So the Litvak skips and jumps his way over to the synagogue. And when he's there, he notices out of the corner of his eye someone he kind of recognizes. Not exactly, kind of dressed the same way. And it becomes clear that there is another one of his landsmen, his countrymen, another Litvak, has come to the synagogue that day. And same thing happens. That second one speaks to the people of the congregation and says, "Hey, where's the rabbi?" And they give him the same answer. Heaven. There is, I don't know where else it could possibly be. I mean, he's not at the house, he's not at the Beit Midrash, the learning center. He's not at home. Where else could he possibly be? He's in heaven. Right? And the first Litvak, the first man who had been following the rabbi, can be heard saying in a whisper, but in an audible whisper. He's like, if not higher. And then that's how the story ends. And the reason why this is such a meaningful story is because, we get so kind of prepared for these high holy days, and our instinct is about the music and the prayers, and we forget, though, that the purpose of this period is for you to not just make yourself better, but to reach out to the people that you might have hurt. Unintentionally, for sure, definitely intentionally. And to try to make amends and to try to fix it. It's not about you and God as much as it's about you and another human being. And we get caught up in the whole you and God stuff and forget about the you and the other human beings. And this story is a reminder to us about what's the important stuff in preparation for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. They are called our high holy days. They are. They take on a character and a flavor different than any other days that we have here at the synagogue. There is no doubt. They are joyous too. Even Yom Kippur, there's a great measure of joy. But there is also, if you are approaching them with the correct mind frame, they should also be coming with a sense of just recognition of our own fallibility and our own needs to be better and the way we do it with other human beings. And so I hope that when you are back here over the course of our important and meaningful days, that you recognize that these days are not just about being here and the words that you say, but about the person you are and the actions that you do. So thanks for, and by the way, if you missed parts of that story and you want to hear it again, just look in your calendar for the month of Elul next year. It's not going to be exactly these dates, probably be a little bit earlier, and usually it's one of the last 2 weeks in which I tell the story, so you get to hear it again. Anyway, thank you so much, and we're on page 586 as we continue with Aleinu. Page 586, would you please rise? All right, ready now.
עלינו לשבח לדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. So this is the part of our service when we bring to mind loved ones who have been called to their eternal rest, both those who have passed away recently. We call this the period of Shloshim, the 30 days of intensive mourning, as well as those whose yahrzeits occur on the Shabbat. It's the anniversary of their passing. And so first I'd like to mention 3 names of loved ones from our congregation who have passed away recently in the last 30 days. And one is particularly stings, they all sting, but one stings particularly only because I am aware of how this passing and a celebration are happening in such short order. And that is, we remember lovingly Arnie Sumner. And Arnie is Andrew's grandfather. And so a bar mitzvah in the shadow of passing, it's always a struggle and difficult, and he certainly is here with us in spirit. And we also remember Juliet Bree Levinson, who's the granddaughter of Lorraine and Richard Butsky and niece of Eva Wine, along with Margaret Hill, the cousin of Laura Rocco. Now, also, we remember these loved ones whose yahrzeits occur on the Shabbat. It's the anniversary of their passing. William Buchanan, Lois Harrison, Clive Gregory Sandy, Howard Anstendig, Murray Kunitz, Sidney Lewis Filer, Rebecca Kahn, Myron Zold, Virginia Fry, Lillian Katz, Joyce Gould Romer, Robert Curry, Samuel Rosenbaum, Bernard Silks, Herbert Saray, Lester Ackerman, Ida Fine Halpern, Astrid Aura Lucas, and Eileen Rocco. And so, in gratitude for their lives and linking their names with the rest of our loved ones who have passed away as well, we remember them with the words of our mourner's prayer, which is called the Kaddish. It is on page 598, and if it's your custom, I invite you to please rise. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechal beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehi shemei Rabbah mevarach le'alam ul'almei almaya, Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yit'aleh v'yitalal shemei dekudsha b'richu. Le'ila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, da'amiram b'yama v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim alinu v'yakol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, Aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to every bereaved heart. And let us say amen. Please be seated. Thank you very much. Our service is almost over, and thank you all again truly for being here. Let me just share with you a handful of announcements, and then we are going to conclude with Motzi and Achat Sha'alti, which is specific for Elul. So thank you so much to Dana Feldman, along with Susan Turnock. They were exceptionally good as ushers this evening. You know, they were questioning their own skills. Turns out it's been a long time since we've had finer ones. So thank you so much. Thank you also to Joanne and Chris Hamilton for sponsoring the Oneg Shabbat. Tomorrow morning, as I mentioned, Andrew's bar mitzvah, 10 a.m. The high holidays are coming up starting, I think, Wednesday night, or is it Tuesday night? Wednesday night. Tuesday? Wednesday night. I do know, it's like I know, I just, like I'll be here. Just might kind of sneak up on me. If you haven't got your tickets yet, look in your email for something from Simple Tickets. We still need bakers for Rosh Hashanah, the Rosh Hashanah Oneg. If you don't mind, and you have skills or no skills at all, consider contributing to the Rosh Hashanah Oneg. Slichot, you know, I kind of talked about it in my little story, but we are doing Slichot. This is tomorrow night. It starts at 6:30. We show a movie, and then we have a service at 9. We're supposed to do the service at midnight. So if you're thinking 9, it's so late. Yeah, we know, but it's 3 hours earlier than when we're supposed to be doing it. So think about it like that. And it's only an hour. It'll be done by 10, we promise. But the movie is School Ties. Allow me to tell you, some people who are in School Ties have never seen it before. I think Matt Damon's in it. I'm pretty sure Ben Affleck is in it. And the lead actor is Brendan Fraser, correct. Who won, I think, an Oscar for his performance in The Whale like 2 years ago. He's a great actor. Anyway, it's a great movie. And I think you'll really, if you've never seen it, I think you'll really like it. We get to use our nice chairs and our movie screen, which is in the social hall. So come for that. And we have delicious desserts. I was watching Vered making some of those things this morning. It's always really difficult when she is in the kitchen making cookies and cakes and stuff, because I just look at it and I'm like, right, it's like the jaw, the drool, the whole thing. So yeah, it's going to be delicious. Slichot, that's tomorrow night. We need volunteers for Pumpkin Patch on October 6th. Everything is in the weekly email. And one last thing to tell you about, which is that October 7th, we will be doing here like a music and meditation and poetry and a little poetry discussion even on some of the poetry and music of October 7th, and just kind of a way of us being able to just kind of come together and mark that 1-year anniversary. So hope to see you here if it's something that you wish to be a part of. I think I'm done with my announcements. Before we conclude with Achat Sha'alti, page 662, I'd like to have Andrew come on back up here with sister and parents to lead us in the Motzi. It's a good one. You can tell by looking at it if it's going to be a good one or not. Hold this. You ready? We're going to do this together. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam,
המוציא לחם מן הארץ, שבת שלום.
So you can take and then just share it with your family if you want. Here, let's put it down and you can take it. All right. It's kind of a lame piece, but take a little bit more. Now we're talking. Okay, good. That's better. All right, 662. Achat sha'al. You guys can go back to your seats.
אחת שאלתי מאת אדוני, אותה אבקש. אחת שאלתי מאת אדוני, אותה אבקש. שבתי בבית אדוני כל ימי חיי, לחזות בנועם אדוני ולבקר בהיכלו, לחזות בנועם אדוני ולבקר בהיכלו. אחת שאלתי מאת אדוני, אותה אבקש. אחת שאלתי מאת אדוני, אותה
Thanks everyone for being here. Shabbat Shalom, and please join us in the lobby for an Oneg Shabbat. And welcome to everyone who watched on our stream this evening. Specifically, I know, because they're the only ones I know specifically, are my parents. But actually, my guess is Merv is probably tuning in as well. So Merv, no, now we're on that camera back there. Merv, Ima, Abba, happy to have you with us. Love you so much. Merv, love you too. Anyone else who's watching, probably I love you. No guarantees. I don't necessarily know everybody. I hope I love you.